Hello and welcome to Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love showing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. So, although this is large, it's an 18-inch door hanger, it is pretty simple. It comes exactly like this. You can grab the kit from me. It comes exactly like this, all, I'm going to turn you guys around, all etched out and ready to go. This one is actually base coated in a little bit of, put my hand in the paint, in a little bit of white. But this design, I'm doing a background in black, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to pick up my black, and I'm just going to start base coating this whole entire background in black. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I'm going to end up speeding this up a little bit while I paint because it's all the same thing. I'm just going around all the letters, around the snowman, around the words, and then we will get into the details. These are available on my website. They come with the brushes, all the paint you need. The link is in the description, and you can have your own paint night at home. These are 18 inches. They come pre-drilled with twine for hanging the paintbrushes and all the paint you need. And then if you need a reference, you can come back to this video. So I'm just going to finish painting in all the background here. I'm using the larger brush, but if you wanted to use a smaller brush to get in the nooks and crannies, it's okay. It doesn't really matter if you get some outside the lines. We don't fret about that. And this is why we do the background first, because when we come back in to do our lettering and our snowman, we will be able to fix all that. Now that I've gotten most of the background done, I'm just going to finish up down here. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. As you can see, my background is not perfect. We don't worry about completely staying out of the lines. When we go in and paint our letters and our snowman, we will fix up anything that we don't love, where we may have gone out of the lines, and that is totally okay. So I'm just finishing up this little bit of bottom on here. And then I'm going to switch brushes, and I'm going to just make sure that I don't miss too many big spots. And I want to get a little bit closer to my design. So I picked up this little brush. This is about maybe a ½ inch wide. It is still a flat brush. You can use the brush that came with your kit, or you can use any brush that you have that you like. Again, I'm filling in these middles here, but I'm not totally worried about being perfect. When we come back in and paint in our letters, the black is just, it'll be covered for the most part, and where there is black, it'll just give your letters some shading, so that's okay. You do want to, once everything is painted, just go back and just clean up your strokes. If you need to get closer, that's fine. But again, it does not have to be perfect. We're going to be adding so much detail in here to our snowman and our lettering that if you have a little tiny error or you went out of line somewhere, it is not even going to matter. Get a little closer up here on his hat, and then here. If you have brush strokes going every which way, you can come in now and smooth them up a little bit, and so they're all going the same direction, either with the circle or all horizontal or all vertical, however it was you were painting, because you will see the brush lines. You can't help that, and this way it makes your project a little bit neater if all your brush strokes are going the same way. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the red subscribe button below and do. You will be notified. If you get notified from YouTube, you'll be notified every time I put up a new video tutorial. There's over 300 videos on my YouTube currently. And I'm doing the inside of these letters a little sloppy, but again, I'm going to pick up my liner brush. When it comes time to filling in all these letters, I'm going to pick up my liner brush and I'm going to go in and do these letters really neat, that they will clean up everything that you're maybe cringing about right now because how I'm painting them. The important thing is when you come in to do your lines and your snowman and stuff, you want all this background to be dry. So if it hasn't dried, you might want to wait. You might want to grab a heat gun or a blow dryer, because it would be much easier to add all the details to your project once your paint background is completely dry. Again, I'm going to get a little bit closer here because I wasn't so close before when I was using that big brush. And I think that is it. I'm going to make sure I got everything that was white painted black. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to wash my brush. Actually, I'm going to wash both brushes. And I'm going to put out some white paint. And while I wait for my background to dry and my lettering to dry, I'm going to get started on my snowman. You're going to make sure you wash the black out of your brush really well. And more importantly, that you dry it. I'm going to pick up my white paint. And I'm going to start painting in the base coat for my snowman. And I'm just going to go over everything now. I'm going over his buttons. I'm going over his scarf. I am going to paint him in sections, but I am painting over everything. You might need 2 coats of white. I have 2 coats of white because I started with the base coat of white. So you may have to do 2 coats on your snowman. I'm coming around in here. I picked up a little bit of black, so I'm just going to wipe off my brush and go back into my white paint. You don't have to go and wash it. All you have to do is wipe it off. As long as you're not spreading all the white paint around, it's okay to just wipe off your brush, get that black off of there, and then come back. So here, I went outside the lines a little bit, but I'm picking up my white paint and I'm totally cleaning up those lines. That's why I said it didn't matter. I'm coming around here. I'm making nice, neat lines. Now, going right over the black where I went outside the lines and fixing it all. So when you're doing your base coat and you're going around with your background, whether it's black or white, don't worry about getting inside the lines. I picked up a little bit of black again, and I'm going to wipe that off. Okay, so now I base coated in my snowman. I'm going to rinse my brush again. We could have actually done the hat first since the hat is black, but oh well. I'm just going to wash my brush again. And I'm going to pick up some black and I'm going to start doing the hat. So currently it'll look like the hat blends right into the background, and it does, but we're going to come back in here and we're going to add some detail and some snow on his hat, and then you will in fact be able to tell which is hat and which is not. And again, we want all our brush strokes, whichever way we go, whichever way we paint our hat, whether we go horizontal or vertical, we want all our brush strokes to go the same way. And I got a little bit of white on here when I did my white, so I'm just going to fix those up with my black brush. Okay, dripped a little bit of white. See, just go right over it. Easy peasy. All right, I'm going to put that in the wash. Give it a little rinse. Now it doesn't matter. Oh, I got to do the inside of my black up here on my baby. My B and my Y, I forgot. Did anybody see that? There's the B. And there's the Y. Okay. Now I'm going to take whatever brush, this big brush for now, and I'm going to dip it in the handle. Here it's tapping. The back of my brush, the brush handle. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do my buttons. Now I feel it's easier to use the handle of the brush. You have more control over it when you're trying to make circles. I wouldn't do a big giant circle, like I wouldn't have done this whole snowman with the back of the brush. But these buttons you can definitely do with the back of the brush, and you have a little bit more control over it. If you run out of paint, you go back in and you pick up some, and you can even make a little bit of a swirly design in here. You use it just like a pencil, and you go around, and there you have your buttons, and I'm just going to wipe off the back. Oh, I got to do my eyes too. I'm going to go and get my little bit of a smaller brush. I'm going to dip in the back of the brush again, and I'm going to come in here and I'm using it like a pencil, and I am just drawing in, filling in the eyes of the snowman. And again, we're going to come in and we're going to add some detail to that. So we're not going to worry about this just yet. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of orange. I'm going to get my liner brush or my small round brush, whichever you have. And I'm going to do his nose. And then again, we're just going to let that dry a little bit because we have some details to add to that as well. Okay, wash it off, rinse it, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit of black and do the mouth. Okay, let me put this on Do Not Disturb. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my smaller brush here. Make sure it's nice and rinsed. Give it a dry. And I'm going to get out some of this light blue paint. Okay. We're going to start working on our scarf now. Now our scarf, in this sample, in this picture, our scarf is a mixture of blue and red. We really don't have to go in and do one section blue, then one section red, then one section blue. It's tedious and harder. what we want to do is paint the whole scarf one base color. I'm picking the blue because then this will make a base for our red. And I'm just going to come in here, we're going to paint the whole scarf blue. And then I'm going to come back in and add in the red once it's dry. So we'll make it nice and even under here. Come around his chin. Make a nice clean line here. And now we have our blue scarf. Now you can leave your scarf blue, or you can add the red. Either way, we're going to let it dry a little bit. And I'm going to go to my letters. So now, this is where I said is the time if you were a little messy with your black. This is the time we're going to go in and we're going to clean everything up. Now we're going to pay attention to our lines, our etched design in here. And we're going to paint in all the lettering blue. When I get to the small letters, I'll switch to my liner brush again. But this brush seems to be working really well. It's almost the same width as these lines, and I can just swipe it. Now that's a little wet up there. I'm going to skip that part for now. We'll come down here. And again, you can see I went outside the lines, but I'm not worrying about that because right now, when I come back with my blue on my brush, I'm cleaning up all those mishaps, cleaning up all the areas where I went outside the line a little bit. I'm just using my brush on the flat and fixing all of that. Come up here to this one. Okay. I'm going to move to my liner brush, like I said. It's going to take a little bit longer, so I'm probably going to speed it up a little bit. But now we're just going to go in and we're going to fill in all of our blue lettering. Okay, so now we have gotten all our lettering done. Neatened it up a little bit. I'm going to wash my brush and I'm going to add the red to my scarf. And again, if you don't want to put the red in your scarf, you don't have to. It is totally up to you. You can make your scarf white and blue. You don't have to do it red. And I'm going to start coloring in every other rectangle here with the red. So my scarf will be red and blue, and then I'm going to add some white highlights. I like to move around because I will rest my hand on my art, and this way I don't put my hand in my paint as much. I'm not going to say it never happens because it does happen, but not as much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already to my YouTube channel. I post 1 to 2 videos a week, And if you get notifications from YouTube, you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. Okay, so there we go. We have our buttons, we have our lettering, we have our face in there. I'm gonna wash my brush. Give it a nice rinse. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure my brush is nice and clean. I'm gonna dry it off, and I'm gonna go into my white, and we want to outline the hat in white. Okay, then we're gonna give it a few swishes to make it look rounded. And then up here in the corner, I'm going to pounce in a little bit of paint, run it down a little bit, bring it over to the side to make it look like a little bit of snow has accumulated on his hat. I'm going to do the same thing by pouncing in some white up here on the top of his little carrot nose. Make it look like some snow has landed on his nose. Okay, then I'm going to use the back of my brush, and I'm going to add white dots in his eyes, and then little tiny ones just over to the side of that. Little tiny. There we go. I'm going to give his buttons a little apostrophe for some highlight. I'm going to try and not get in the red and highlight his scarf a little bit. If you want to wait for your red to be dry and come back to this, you can. I just don't want to end up with pink, but I'm being very careful. And then I'm just going to add in a little bit of white on the blue. If you can see that. There you go. Then I want to add some, oh, you know what I forgot? It's not on here. Okay, we'll come back to that. I think we need a little bit, oh, I'm going to do it right now. We need a little apostrophe up here for It's Cold Outside. Okay, and wash my brush again. And now I'm going to add some white detail to all of my letters. And I'm going to do that by just adding a straight line and 3 dots. And I'm going to do that to all the letters, but just one side. Like, I'm not going to do both sides of the U or the O or even the D. This is just adding a little bit of decoration, a little bit of whimsy to our lettering. And it doesn't have to be to every section of the letter. I'm just doing it to the one side. A line and dots, and there we go. Okay, then I'm going to stick with my white, and I'm going to make a curvy line around the entire outside perimeter of our door hanger. Okay. And then I want to add a few snowflakes, and we're going to do that by putting a cross and then an X and then putting a dot at the end of each of our lines. Okay, and you could put as many of these or as few of these as you like. They can be small, they can be large. If you have a stencil, you can use a stencil. It's totally up to you. I'm actually being a little strategic because there are places where I either splash some white paint or some blue paint, and so I don't have to go back over that with black. That's where I'm adding a little snowflake. One, two, three, and I'm going to do one more in here. And then my little dots. So again, these are the colors that come with the kit, but you can do yours in any colors you like. It's totally up to you. All my kits come with the surface, the twine for hanging, brushes, and paint. Now I do have a couple little dots here and there that I'm just going to go around with my black and fix. But if you wanted to, we can just add a whole bunch of snow to this background. You can make it as busy or as neat as you want. I tend to be a little bit minimal when I paint, so I like my 5 little snowflakes on there, and I am good to go. Okay, I think that is it. Okay, put that in the water, turn you guys around. So here is the finished product. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to I'm going to spray it with the sealer, and we'll be all good to go. Thank you guys. Don't forget to hit the red subscribe button. Catch me on YouTube. Have a great day, everyone.